In the international business literature, the role of politics has not been systematically identified and presented, and theories and models offer a limited support in addressing political processes. In this paper, we enhance the understanding of the contemporary role of politics in the global economy and its significance for international business. We pose three questions. Why are firms increasingly affected by politics? How are they affected? And how do international business theories incorporate politics? We disaggregate the notion of politics of internationalization through identification of 8 distinct dimensions in which politics affect firms' internationalization. This is political risk and uncertainty, political capital and political ties, political capabilities, lobbying, corporate diplomacy, nationalism and populism, conflicts and sanctions, and corruption and bribery. In countries with emerging economy, political uncertainty in host markets impose transaction costs on firms, complicating firms' investments and motivating non-market activities. However, over time, companies can learn how to mitigate political risks and hence may lower their overall exposure to such risks. In emerging markets, political capital can provide an additional competitive advantage as well as a mechanism for reducing risk in host markets. Therefore, political ties can facilitate firms' strategy, but may also have adverse effect, for example, damaging legitimacy of politically connected firms. Emerging multinational enterprises develop and accumulate capabilities needed to acquire political knowledge and access political capital. For post-Soviet group of emerging markets, politics-based dynamic capabilities help firms to internationalize beyond neighboring countries and overcome the liability of origin. Through lobbying, MNEs can achieve multiple positive effects, including reduced political risk, favorable legislative decisions, and higher returns. In addition, large multinationals may increase lobbying activity at the supranational level, with examples of lobbyism in the European Union and Parliament. MNEs engage in corporate diplomacy for various reasons, such as reducing risk, advancing their interests with the governments, and maintaining their reputation and legitimacy. However, national policymakers have different policy targets that in turn may also differ across countries. Through the lens of economic nationalism and populism, MNEs can be subject to the policies of host governments that create new barriers to foreign trade. For example, as in the case of the UK, where Brexit has fundamentally changed the nature of trade with the European Union and forced some multinationals to move their regional headquarters out of the country. Major developments in the global economy, such as the rise of the Global South, is leading to an antagonistic rivalry for supremacy between the US and China. This can be further affected by economic sanctions. Firms can try to influence political processes to avoid being negatively affected by sanctions, for example, through advocating for their industry or sphere of interests to be exempted from sanctions or to be compensated for potential losses. While for countries the effect of corruption are typically associated with less effective public policies, at the firm level the effects of corruption are not so straightforward. MNEs often resort to offering bribes or forming connections with government officials to gain advantages, making corruption an important way for firms to build political connections and secure benefits. To sum up, the international competitiveness of national firms is more and more becoming a government rather than just a private concern. The ability to leverage politics is becoming more important for the competitive advantage of emerging multinationals, and firms are increasingly engaging in political activities through non-market strategies. We find that EMNE strategies are becoming more entangled with those of governments, political parties, lobbyists, and other formal and informal institutions. In emerging economies, the state often plays a relatively active role in the economy, and emerging multinational enterprises strategies are more conditioned by politics, policies, and non-market considerations.